My boyfriend said no one cared about my weight loss. Then his friend called me hot. I spent a year getting stronger and training for a marathon. I'd lost 60 pounds in the process. My boyfriend never once acknowledged it. When I mentioned hitting a new personal record at the gym, he said, "No one really cares about your weight loss except you." I stopped bringing it up after that. Then we went to his friend's birthday party, and everything changed. I'd started running in January because my doctor said I needed to get my blood pressure down. My boyfriend said running was boring, and he didn't understand why I'd want to embarrass myself huffing and puffing around the neighborhood where people could see me. By March, I was running 3 miles without stopping, and I told him about it over dinner. He was scrolling through his phone and said, "That's cool. You're still not fast, though." Without looking up, I joined a gym in April and started lifting weights. My boyfriend started making comments every time I left. "Again? You know you're just going to end up looking bulky and gross, right?" My coworkers kept telling me I looked amazing. My best friend said I was glowing. My boyfriend looked me up and down one night and said, "You look the same to me. Actually, you're getting kind of veiny in your arms. That's not attractive." I signed up for a 5K in July and finished in under 30 minutes. My boyfriend was playing video games when I got home and said, "Did you win?" I said no. There were hundreds of people running. He said, "Then why does it matter?" I started training for longer distances every Sunday. My boyfriend got nasty about it. "You're seriously going to waste another entire day sweating like a pig?" One morning, I couldn't find my running shoes and found them later in the back of his closet covered in dirt. He said I must have put them there and forgot. He kept saying things that cut deeper. "You're obsessed, and it's honestly pathetic. Your legs are getting too muscular. It's disgusting. You know this whole fitness thing is just because you're insecure, right?" I registered for a marathon in November. My boyfriend looked at me like I was insane. "A marathon? You're not a real runner. You're going to embarrass yourself." I ran the marathon and finished in 4 hours and 12 minutes. My boyfriend refused to come watch. He said, "Why would I stand around for 4 hours watching you struggle to do something you're not even good at?" My best friend came instead and cried when I crossed the finish line. When I got home with my medal, he barely glanced at it and said, "So that's done, thank God. Maybe now you'll go back to being normal." 2 weeks later was his friend's birthday party, and I wore a dress in my new size. My boyfriend looked at me before we left and said, "You look like you're trying too hard." We walked into the party and his friend Jake immediately said, "Holy shit, you look incredible." He looked at my boyfriend. "Dude, how did you land someone this hot?" My boyfriend's hand tightened on my waist hard enough to hurt. He pulled me closer and said, "Hands to yourself. This is my goddess girlfriend, not yours." The rest of the party he didn't leave my side, and he told everyone how great I was and how much he appreciated me. Suddenly he was acting like he cared about me again. On the drive home, I finally asked him what just happened. He kept his eyes on the road and his jaw was tight. I said, "You ignored everything I did for an entire year. You called me pathetic and disgusting. You told me I looked veiny and bulky. You said no one cared, and now suddenly you're all over me because Jake called me hot." He laughed this cold laugh and said, "I was hoping it wouldn't get this far, but now you're making me simp to keep you. So fine, I will." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You want to know the truth? Fine. I was adding shit to your food. Extra butter, oil, sugar, whatever I could. I thought if I could get you to gain the weight back, you'd give up and stop with this whole fitness obsession." I couldn't breathe. "You were tampering with my food?" He said, "Yeah, and it didn't even work. You just kept losing weight anyway. Nothing I did would make it stop." I said, "Why would you do that?" He finally looked at me and his face was mean in a way I'd never seen before. "Because I liked you better when you were fat. You were grateful back then. You didn't think you could do better than me. Now you're walking around acting like you're some prize, and guys like Jake are noticing, and I know you're going to leave. They're already saying I don't deserve you and I have to act like your pathetic lapdog." I said, "So you tried to keep me fat and insecure on purpose so I wouldn't leave you." He said, "You were easier to deal with before. Now you're confident and annoying and you think running a stupid marathon makes you special. It doesn't." I decided to lose 200 more pounds by ditching the boyfriend.